In this video tutorial, we are going to build this chart for the FIFA 2022 Qatar Championship Games. We have put the initial 32 teams at the lowest level of the graph. The tooltip tells us the country name and the group. Teams from the same group have the same color background. Those teams are located opposite each other at the largest wheel, and the two teams that go to the round of 16 are repeated as nodes at the next level, this time without the background. The graph is built on the predictions of CBS Sports for the championship. We use the MindFusion JavaScript library for diagrams, where the Radial tree layout was added recently. The same color connectors on each level connect the teams that face each other at this level, and ultimately, one of the nodes is repeated at the next level, having emerged as the winner. For our project, we have downloaded the trial version of the JavaScript diagram. You can install the library from npm as well, but we are using the downloadable archive. In it, you can find all scripts that make up the library. We are using those from the UMD folder. Instead of having them all separately, you can just load the big script that combines them all. We prefer the separate UMD scripts and copy them to a folder called scripts in our project folder. Our project folder so far has just one file, an empty web page. Let's include now the references to all UMD JavaScript files that we copied in scripts. We also need to create a new JavaScript file to place the code for our application. Let's include a reference to it as well. Next, we add a div element that holds the canvas for the diagram. The diagram needs a canvas element to draw itself onto, and it must have an ID. We make it stretch over the whole browser window. We will add here the reference to our special font that is used to render the flag emoji. We have chosen the country flag emoji polyfill font, which can be installed from npm or referenced directly through a CDN. We choose the letter. We need to set our emoji font as a font for the paragraph where we will be using the emoji Unicode symbols. Since our project renders just the graph, we set it on the whole page, creating a CSS style, which uses the universal selector, the asterisk. Now it is time that we start writing the JavaScript code for the application. We begin by adding some namespace mappings, which make the code easier to read. We also need a few global variables, the diagram, a map with the Unicode symbols for the country emoji, the country codes and names, some predefined colors. The main portion of our code will be in the window load event. This is so because we load fonts via the web and we want to make sure they are loaded before any other code gets executed. We go on now with the regional symbols for the countries. These are the standard two-letter combinations, unique for each state, which also have fixed Unicode representations by a succession of characters. In the Wikipedia page for this topic, you can see the table with the Unicode blocks for each letter. Our array, country codes, includes the two-letter symbols for each country that takes part in the championship. We add now a new function that creates a map with all Latin letters and their Unicode representations for use with JavaScript. There are numerous websites that tell you the emoji codes for flags of the different countries. The two letters for the regional symbol are represented as a combination of 4 Unicode blocks. We add the Unicode blocks for all letters so we can construct the flag emoji codes dynamically. Let's initialize now the array with the country's names. They mirror the country's regional symbols and are used by the tooltips. We also initialize the array with colors for the links on the different levels of the graph. Now we can create the diagram view object, which holds the diagram. Each diagram needs a diagram view to render itself onto. By default, diagram items have a shadow. We remove this shadow by setting Shadow's style to none. Now we are going to create a new style for the diagram. Let's check the style class in the online documentation. The class has various properties for specifying the appearance of diagram items. We create a new style and set the font name to be the font, which we reference in order to render the emoji. We increase the font size to make the flags larger. We also set a light gray stroke for each node. Let's create one more helper function, getCountryCode. If we get back to the flag emoji, let's say it's Argentina, we remember that it is a combination of the Unicode blocks for A and R. Our helper method does just that, returns the combined Unicode representation for the two letters it gets as arguments. Now we come to the method that creates the nodes indeed. We call it createNode, and it gets as a parameter the country code. We need to split the country code in letters, and then we can call our helper method to give us the Unicode blocks for the country represented by this regional code. The other properties we set for our new nodes are shape, rounded rectangle, and bounds. The bounds don't matter for location, only for the size. We will use an automatic layout to arrange the nodes, so the bounds X and Y properties are not important. We make the node transparent and give a padding to the text. Let's not forget to add it to the collection of nodes for this diagram. The getTooltip method is very simple. It looks up the index of the country with the code provided as a parameter and returns the string at the same location from the array with country names. We now need to call the method that fills the map with the Unicode blocks, and we are ready to create our first node. We suggest the winner of the championship will be Brazil, so we create a node with the regional symbol BR. And here is our node. The tooltip reads Brazil, so everything seems to work fine now. Before we continue adding new teams at the next level, we will add the method that creates links. It uses the diagram factory to create a link, which automatically adds the new link to the collection of links for the diagram. We need the level at which the nodes that the link connects are located. We use the level to get the right brush for the link. We also set null as a head for the link and triangle as a shape for the link base. This creates the optical illusion that the tree starts from the bottom to the top, which is otherwise not possible in a tree structure. It always starts from the root to the leaves, e.g., from the winner to the participants in the first level of the championship. We can create now the two nodes that represent the teams at the final. We also create the links between them. If we refresh the page, we won't see much difference. That is because the new nodes are created on top of the old one because they all have the same bounds. Let's apply the radial tree layout algorithm to arrange them properly. We create a new instance of the radial tree layout class and give it as a parameter to the arrange method of the diagram. This is how you apply any automatic layout algorithm. The layouts have various properties for adjusting the final result, but in our case, we are not using any. Let's call the resize to fit items method for the diagram to make sure all items are visible. Now if we refresh the page, we will see that the 3 nodes we've created are properly arranged. Before we go on building the next level, let's pay attention to the flags of Wales and England. These are not presented in Unicode by the conventional combination of 2 letters. The country codes for England and Wales are given in Unicode blocks as a combination of a black flag and 5 more symbols, altogether 6. It is not convenient that we use our map with the standard Unicode blocks for letters, and we will create the flags for England and Wales in a separate method. Now let's add the nodes that represent the countries at the semifinals. We've decided for Brazil, Portugal, Argentina, and Denmark, or at least that's what is to be read at CBS Sports. At the time this video is made, Saudi Arabia has defeated Argentina 2-1, so the predictions have already been under doubt. The next rounds follow the same patterns. They only include more teams. Note that when we have England, call the create special node method instead of the standard create node. The algorithm arranges the nodes lovely. For the group phase of the championship, we create nodes for all teams that we've added to the country codes array. The nodes differ to the previous nodes slightly. They are not transparent with nodes that represent countries in the same group having the same background. The nodes also have a tag, which we will use when we search for a node in the array all teams, where we also add the newly created nodes, besides adding them to the diagram. Let's create the special nodes for England and Wales. We create them last, and we have made the other 2 teams that are in the same group with England and Wales to be at the end of the country codes array, so that all 4 of them have the same brush as a background. Let's add now the code that creates the teams and games for Group A. It is not different to the code that created the games and team connections so far. There is one new thing, however. The teams that make it to the round of 16 are cloned. Since we have created a single instance of a team, it is used for the lowest level of the graph. The nodes for the 2 teams that go on in the championship have to be cloned in order to appear again at the next level. Here you also see a lot of unconnected nodes. These are the rest of the teams. The nodes will disappear once we link them with the rest of the graph. All we are left to do now is add the code for the other 7 groups. It is the same. We search for the teams by tag, edit the tooltip, clone the 2 winners, and add them to the nodes collection of the diagram. And our diagram is ready. It is a real flowchart, which you can also edit if you want. And that's the end of this video tutorial. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your interest in MindFusion developer tools.